3, 2, 1. Hi. I never know how to start. I never know how to start, to be quite honest, because music and you just have to start the show. So here we are. And Llama is joining us, the beautiful Llama.
Joining. Hi.
It's the LlamaBeanz LiveStream. That's the name we've come up with.
I like it.
I think is.
I like it. I think it's here.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I like it too. Okay, guys, everyone's here. Look, all right. I got a bunch of people in the chat, which is awesome. Someone's asking if they're driving home on the best coast, which I would assume is the West Coast. I'm sorry. I beg to differ. But you can listen on YouTube live. Just put it on in your phone while you're driving and listen to it. Oh, by the way, it's St. Patrick's Day today. So let's let the shenanigans begin. What do you say?
I'm frozen. Can you see me?
I see you.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. I'm frozen on my end, but that's okay, as long as we're not frozen on your end.
No, and you're fine. I see you fine, so we're good.
All right.
So I wanted to do this show today because we were supposed to do this show weeks ago. Maybe, what was it, 6 weeks ago now?
Yeah. Close to that. Close to that.
When Anonymous Scandinavia was releasing their hints, and we were supposed to get together to discuss what we thought was going on. I came across your blog, which was, and we were going to just have a show going over all the crazy happenings that were going on. Talk this for a few minutes, and then we'll get into all the rest of the stuff we want to talk about. But I think it's time to break the ice and kind of explain what happened during that crazy period and what's going on right now. What do you think?
We all want to hear this story. We all want to hear
it. So that day, interview I was doing with a gentleman named Christopher Cantwell, and he has a show called Radical Agenda, and I was talking about Pizzagate. I was actually doing that show from the parking lot of a doctor's office because I had to bring someone very close to me to the doctor, and I don't want to yet explain who that is. But I brought them to the doctor. They were in the doctor, and I was outside trying to keep my commitment to do this radio show. And the person came out of the doctor and said, you have to take me right to the emergency room right now. I have to go right over there. There was something serious going on with their vision. Wanted to kind of rule out certain conditions. So that's what I did. I canceled the live show with you, and I rushed over to the hospital with this person. And at that same exact time, I also had another family member, my sister, who was going through some really difficult health issues. My sister, I'll just tell the story really quickly, is pregnant, and she was having horrible headaches, and they were able to figure out after lots and lots of tests that she has a blood clot on her brain. And so she was also going through that at the same time as the other person who's very close to me was going through their medical issue. And so prayers for my sister who's dealing with this still through to this day. I mean, it's still ongoing with her, and I love her very much. She's my entire universe. And so we're praying for her and the baby. But at the same time as that was happening, I got a tweet from another Anon who basically said, you know, you're way over your head. And this was all public. So, you know, I think a couple of these tweets have been deleted since, but basically was saying, you know, here's a clue that you're not really weak, and tweeted out a hint to something that only I would know. Somebody else were looking into me. So it was a little bit frightening in the midst of all of what was happening. And at that very juncture, I was like, okay, hold the boat. Going on personally with my family right now, and I really do need to focus on that for her. And I couldn't deal with all of the other things that were happening at the same time. It was just too much. So I legitimately had going on that just happened to coincide with this anonymous account and the show being canceled and the interview I was doing being abruptly, all of those things coupled together.
And it all looked so shady at the time. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Because so much.
And, you know, I thought to myself, okay, I really need to just unplug from this. It's getting nuts, because no matter how many times I said, it's okay, it's really just family stuff, people were really concerned, and they would, you know, talk about how to me or someone was threatening me. And yes, while I was threatened, quasi-threatened in a way, that wasn't what was causing me to stop. So I was like, let me close down all my social media. I mean, literally, so I can just focus on this. Well, that was a huge mistake. I'm like, let me delete all my videos or make them private. That was an even bigger mistake. So I made everything public again. And I just tried to kind of lay low for a while until I could settle some things and things were stabilized. And now slowly sort of getting back into stuff. So I just wanted to get that story out there. I'm gonna look in the chat and see if anyone has any questions as we're going about this. But I honestly know how bad it looked, and I tried my best without giving away anything that people, you know, close to me didn't want out there to explain. I didn't want to be the drama person, but I really had a lot of crap going on. That's what happened. And so here we are back, and finally 6 weeks later.
You've kept up on everything. I mean, you have more stuff going on than most people do, and here you are on top of everything. You know what's going on.
And so do you, my dear. So
I don't think I can keep track of it as well as you can, but it's astounding for everything you've had going on and how full your plate has been. And most people didn't know that, and you're still trucking along, following everything. And
you're very kind. Thank you very much. Because I care about this stuff a lot, probably too much, or maybe not. Who knows? But I you know, we both do. I mean, I stumbled across you because of the amazing blog that you do. And I was like, wow, what a comprehensive guide to all of this. I was just enamored with it. And I had no idea if you were a woman or a man. So I kept on saying he, she, he. And
yeah.
And here you are.
The funny thing is, I know. I don't think people realize that blog, I mean, really a lot of things that I blog more to keep track of for myself. So when I started the Vault 7 blog, it was just one of those things of, oh my gosh, there's so many hints out there. There's so many things that this could mean. I started blogging about it just so I could keep track of everything I was coming across. It wasn't really like, hey everyone, I have a Vault 7 blog. It was, what is going on? I can't keep track of this. I'm just gonna put it all out here, you know? So it's kind of funny that you came across it.
Well, I don't even remember how I found it, but I did. And the thing is, like, we were talking and you were saying, like, a lot of people consume information better when they read it. And then, like, there's that group of people, and then there's the group of people that consume through watching videos and stuff like that. So it's really a good, you can see the whole history of this unfold through that website that you've got. And there's a lot more on there that I went poking and digging through that we'll touch on tonight.
Yeah.
You have an amazing sort of backstory. And if anything has come out of all this, it's you, and being able to connect with you and, you know, get to know you better. And it's been great. So
I agree. The LlamaBeanz.
LlamaBeanz. I'm so stupid. But anyway, so let's touch on a few things about the juice, right? Because that's what people want us to talk about, I'm sure. So
Vault 7?
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start on Vault 7? Do you want to start on the Secret Service incident from today? Do you want to start on the Chavez interview that you just, were taking a look at real quick? Where do you want to go?
If you want to, I got to tell you, the only thing I really saw about the whole Secret Service thing was your video. I haven't, which you covered like, 10 articles in it or so. So there's not a whole, I could add to that besides nobody knows what's going on. was a motorcycle. It was
How many different stories?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, in one story, it's no big deal. In the next story, it's things and sliced bread and a national security threat. Now, my thought about that is usually you have one line, an AP line comes out and everybody follows that, right? But here you've got like a bunch of independent, which is strange because that's not typical. You know, usually there's a line. And so I'm thinking to myself, these are all New York outlets. Some of them have better sources than others. Some of them are trying to downplay it. Some of them have a motive or agenda. And I don't think that this incident is separate. I think this plays into Vault 7 or Vault 7. Yeah. So.
Well, let me ask.
7. Or you asked me a question.
Well, really quick, with this whole Secret Service thing, they said that they had surveillance cameras or they had caught on CCTV camera someone by the car? Did they see them?
Yeah. Like
breaking into it, like jimmying the door? Like I'm picturing some Secret Service guy making a call like, hey, by the way, my car is unlocked. You know, grab what you need to and see you later.
You know, I had a bunch of really, my subscribers are amazing. So I had a bunch of really great comments on that video. One person said, do you think, they're human, they can make mistakes. But if this laptop is that important, hell, have you left it in your car? And then I watched a live stream from Dan Bongino, and he said that a card that they have to use to access the laptop was with it in the car. So why would you do that? Like, why would you leave? Even if you were just having a lapse in judgment, that seems like a pretty big lapse in judgment. I mean, I wouldn't even leave my laptop in the car if I was going, like, I would never do that.
Exactly. It's a little sketchy. Yeah. All right, so Vault 7.
So Vault 7. So I feel a little bit, I think like most people, a little overwhelmed by the first data dump because of the technical. But the first thing that you and I did was start piecing together program that they can use to manipulate cars and stuff like that. And you thought immediately of Hastings, and I thought immediately of the Russian ambassador or the driver, the chauffeur for.
Right.
Share your perspective on that bit.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just that these things aren't out of the realm of possibility anymore. This is no longer we're wearing tinfoil hats and we're coming up with some crazy stuff. This is reality. It can happen, and it may very well have happened. You know, I don't know one way or another what the facts are behind these two crashes, but I do know that it's possible. We all know it's possible now, which is a very scary, scary thing.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's going to sound crazy when I say this, but finding this stuff out, like I knew it already, right? I knew it already. But the breadth and the scope of it, finding it out for sure, made me feel better and more free in a way. It's stupid, but it's like, why am I going to try and pretend, be careful what I say, right? When they know anyway.
I know. I had put in my blog about going to that thing about nominating WikiLeaks for that MIT thing. And when I went to it before I blogged about it, it asked me my name. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to put my name. It doesn't matter. Just put your name in. They know. They know everything.
Yeah.
They know everything.
So the next question, I have a lot more to say about Vault 7's first dump. But the next question is, everybody wants to know, when's 2 coming out? Now, I have no idea, like, just, we don't know, but what I think is Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it didn't come. Saying the blockchain's really busy, which that could be possible, possibly leading up to something. They don't usually wait when they say they have a series of information. They don't usually wait a very long time between.
Right.
This release is so massive that there may be things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to.
Right.
I know you're good gut on this stuff.
Llama. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm like you. I don't know when the next one's coming. I'm sure they, from the point of view that they have said that this is their last dump was only 1% of what they have. They have a lot of documents to get through, a lot of documents to, redact or whatever they need to do to protect certain things. And frankly, none of us know when for sure they got these documents. So I don't know. I don't know what they've gotten through. I don't know if they've decided, what they're going to put out next. I personally don't know how this works. So there's a lot of things that could go into this. I think it's interesting that Anon Scandinavia had put out that tweet that Vault 7, the second leak, was on its way. I think that's what they said was on, and that was on what, Tuesday maybe? And then we had the big snowstorm. Next thing you know, Merkel's not getting on a plane. So, it could be anything. We don't know. I don't know.
We have a really active chat right now, which is absolutely awesome. So I'm just going to go through some of the stuff in the chat so that we keep people engaged. And, I was thinking too, at one point or another, maybe tonight, if we hang on to some of these folks, maybe we'll open it up and have them pop in if they want. I'd love to hear other people's perspectives on this stuff and just get random people jumping in. Would be fun, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Assange say part 2 happens after the companies finish fixing their back doors? Do you remember him saying that in his presser?
Say that again. Where are you at?
Do you remember, did Assange in his press conference say that he would release the second part once the companies fixed their back doors? What happened? Did I lose her? I think she's frozen. Okay. I don't remember seeing that. But if somebody's got a link, please share it with me. That would be really interesting because that may not happen. And most of them were already fixed. There was a large percentage of those that had already been fixed because it was older information, or so the company said. That could be. I hope that's not true because that could be forever. The other thing is, she's okay. The other thing about this is they always tell a story. They always tell a story. They always tell a story with their leaks. Like with the Podesta emails, they were leaked in a certain sequence that told a story, if you looked at it correctly or a certain way. I feel like this is going to tell a story too. Julian Assange was sure to mention that the things that were going to come out in Vault 7 weren't all, that there would be other information. Is she back? Is she back?
I'm back. Am I back?
Yay, she's back. Yes.
Sorry about that.
To me ever again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So I was just basically saying they usually tell a story with their information when they leak it. And Podesta's emails did that. I think that, Assange did say that this time around he wasn't going to, this batch wasn't going to all be technical mumbo jumbo.
Right.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that, I'm sure like a lot of people out there, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand. It's like coding and all of that. So, I feel like 90% of those documents, I have no idea what's going on. Minus the fact that Assange was, he has a great press release for that really lays it out for us.
Thank goodness, because I think he understands that most of the public that's reading this probably wouldn't grasp the technical side of it. It's way over my head, I have to be honest. But somebody just asked a question that I have to segue into now because they asked.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched this with the 10-foot pole yet, but you have.
Oh boy, let's hear
it. Somebody asked, is Cicada 3301 related to WikiLeaks?
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on it, I can only go by what's been put out there on Twitter. I know Anon Scandinavia put out a tweet yesterday or the day before saying that they're aware of it. but it's not of interest to them. So I don't know. I personally, I know nobody's going to want to hear this. Nobody's going to want to hear this. I'm going to be the bad guy tonight. I don't personally think it has anything to do with the Vault 7, but you know what? I'm wrong all the time. So we'll see.
Does anyone remember, like, several months ago, before the election, there was this website with a countdown on it? It was like Bad Something Eater. I don't remember what the name of it was, but like everybody was trying to figure out this riddle, and there were these dollar bills with all these weird symbols on them, and it was like Illuminati symbolism, and everyone went nuts trying to figure it out, and they were scattered all over the country, and I was one of those people. It ended up being a very gruesome anti-abortion video that came out. It was really disturbing.
Wait, so they had a countdown, and then this disturbing video came out later?
Yeah, it came out when the countdown ran out. This video came on screen, and it was a very disturbing video. And then a man giving like a sermon, the viewers, about how like we're so enthralled with the Illuminati and all this, but there's people being killed, you know, babies being murdered. It was regardless of your opinions on abortion, it was disturbing, to say the least. People are saying it was probably like that, and I'm like, no, it's nothing like that.
No, I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like that. God, I hope not.
No,
I don't
know
at all. Yeah.
No, this is document now. Okay, so let me give a brief history for folks that may not know, and I'm sorry if you do. We'll say that. Cicada 3301 started a few years ago on Twitter. They released a hint to a puzzle, and it's basically cryptography and really, really intense puzzles and things you need to figure out, and you know, history and art and music, and it's mind-blowing. This is, and there have been people that have figured out these puzzles. They've done it. They've won, and some of them have come out like anonymously and said, like, you know, Cicada has said, we're looking for really intelligent individuals to join us. Join us in what? Nobody knows, but a lot of it goes on the deep web and the dark web. And crazy. Last year they didn't release a hint at all. This year they did, but they didn't do it on Twitter. They did it on 4chan, which is leading a lot of people to believe that maybe this isn't the same anonymous group of, you know, folks that did Cicada 3301 in the past.
Right.
This came to me several weeks ago from a friend who showed me something about it, and then I found it through Victor's Libertas channel, who I shouted out to on Twitter because they have really some cool content.
Yeah.
And into this, and it's disturbing in a lot of ways. You've heard the soundtrack, right?
The Cicada one, the recent one,
the last one they released.
Yes.
I'll tell you WikiLeaks lover, who I love on Twitter, by the way, is saying this year there's a ton of Sumerian and occult hints related to Cicada 3301. Yes, they're dark. Like, they're hopeful and dark at the same time. Like, a lot of backwards text, backwards speaking. It's a lot of things hidden in music, a Bible, what sounds like Bible verse, what sounds like prophecy, a lot surrounding the number 7. All primes, by the way, in their puzzles, all prime numbers, the number 7 being of particular importance this year. So think of that soundtrack. I was drawn to that like a moth to a flame. Like, I was like,
you're not alone. You're not alone. A lot of people were. To be honest, I know I'm going to be like such a bad guy tonight. I'm going to be like the girl with the glass that's half empty. I didn't think, it's not that I didn't think much of it. It didn't do much for me. And admittedly, you know, I grew up Catholic and went to all the little, you know, Catholic schools growing up. And so when I heard the guy talking backwards on the takes me back to my childhood of, you know, that sort of thing is associated with Satan or the devil, you know, just very evil stuff. So, and again, people, I'm not saying that that's the case with this, not at all. For me personally, that's what it took me back to. And so it left kind of a, you know, kind of a bad taste for me, where I know a lot of people have been very kind of inspired by this stuff. So I certainly don't want to bring those people down. This is just my own personal experience with it. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things that have come out of it. But is because I haven't followed this up until, you know what, let me digress. Here's the story. So Tracy one day tells me about this cicada 3301. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? No idea. So she sends me a couple videos. I start watching them. I'm like, oh, this is pretty intriguing. And then the other day, I'm randomly finding myself watching more cicada 3301 videos, right? And the one had a phone number in it, and it's that Mojave Desert phone number. So I called it, and the day that I called it just happened to be the day that they put out this latest hint with the Morse code that had the Blake Williams or William Blake's painting hidden in it, and the voices. And, you know, I'm sending Tracy messages like, oh my gosh, I'm in a chat now. I don't even know what's going on. Like, I'm knee deep in this cicada thing at this point. So it's been an interesting ride this last week with cicada, but then the other day I just walked away from it. You know, I just kind of, it's a little too much. It's a big distraction for me, you know, because it's a hint, it's a puzzle, it's entertaining. So it got to be too much. But I know Tracy here, you know, is fond of it, very fond of it.
I'm just so tantalized by it. Like, I'm not even smart enough to figure it out or anything, and I would never call that phone number. So God bless.
And I must have called multiple times. I kept calling. I'm sending the Mojave Desert phone text messages, and I'm getting messages back. I'm like, this is so off the hook right now. It was very off the hook. And it was weird that I just happened to randomly call on the day that they put out that message, that Morse code and song, and changed the website. It's very strange. So anyways, but the whole point was everything that's happened in the past with this. My question is, what has anyone gotten out of it after they've solved the puzzle? Like, is it just kind of like, congratulations, good job? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering, where does this end? Because I haven't heard anything coming of it after people have solved it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's like Fight Club, Llama. It's like Fight Club. Seriously, it is. It's Fight Club. We don't talk about it. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Some people have gone in and left, and then have done interviews. You can Google, you can YouTube it. You know what? Damn frizz. You can YouTube it and see the interviews with some of the folks that have actually done it.
Right.
But I am of the opinion that it does tie into WikiLeaks.
I know. A lot of people are.
I'm like an Ed from the Outer Dark fangirl now. So I have to say his videos on it have been wonderful. He has an ability to speculate about stuff and make you see how logically his speculation is done. He's just something else. So I think it does have to do with this overwhelming like barrage of truth that's coming out now. I mean, the shit is hitting the fan, in case you guys haven't realized.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt that a lot of aspects about cicada tie into what's going on with the whole WikiLeaks thing. But for them to be, I don't know, kind of hand in hand in this thing, cicada seems a little too esoteric, I guess, for WikiLeaks. So I could, you know, I guess if I had to guess, my guess is this is an alternative group that is doing their own thing, coinciding with WikiLeaks.
That could be. That could be, absolutely. And Look, I gotta say something. I'm trying to jump back and forth here into the chat. I love all of you guys in the chat right now. You're amazing. I mean, I know you can't see this, Llama, but this chat is so intelligent and wonderful.
I can see it until the computer freezes. Yeah.
It's really good. Some people are doing like a little debate on Anon Scan right now. I will share my honest opinion about them. They have been very, what's the right word? They've been really very good with the information that they've put forth so far.
Yeah.
Very kind as well. And I think that they're serving a very purpose. I think that there's been a lot of people that have been blocked by them. I can't speak for why. I don't know. Nor do I have like a first name basis relationship. So I have a lot of people contacting me saying, they blocked me. Can you get me back? I'm like, not really. I don't, you know.
And same here. I have no magical relationship with them. This is not, you know, I am not the person to go through for them at all. I don't want anyone to assume that I have some special contact with them or relationship with them. You know, I'm with Tracy. I can't even begin to start to I mean, really kind of put out there how much I appreciate them, how much work I think they're doing, and the fact that they're doing this not only to protect free speech and whistleblowers and leakers and investigative journalists, but to protect Julian Assange at the end of the day and maybe get him out of this embassy that he's been, you know, forced to be holed up into. So I think when you look at it that way, I don't think a thank you even covers what they've done, honestly.
I agree. I agree. I don't have a bad word to say, honestly. And people say they're, you know, they're PSYOP, everybody can have their own opinion. Obviously, this is just our opinion. I don't have anything to guide me towards that conclusion at all. The other thing I wanted to talk about, there's so much to talk about. This is so much fun. Llama, I know you've stayed away from not stayed away from, but haven't taken a deep dive into Pedogate.
Right.
Because of the nature of the subject. But somebody, you know, a bunch of people in the chat are asking about Wiener's laptop and what you think is on Wiener's laptop. Right. Do you have any knowledge about that? Like, have you studied that? I haven't talked to you about that.
No, I really don't. I mean, I can only guess, like the rest of us, what's on Wiener's laptop. I'm sure it was pretty interesting. I think I saw a question earlier on here about will we ever see what's on Wiener's laptop? And to be honest, I don't think we will. I just don't. I don't think, but you know what? I'm used to living in a world where we don't get to see much. So I don't think we will, to be honest. We'll see. You
don't think we'll see what's on Wiener's laptop?
I don't. I hope we do. I hope we do. But if I don't know. My thought is if we do, it's going to be a long time coming before that comes out in the wash.
Ooh, I'm disagreeing with you.
I know. Well, we disagree on Cicada too. So
we disagree on what?
On Cicada also.
Yeah. Yes, we did. So
yeah.
Let's go backwards now. Wiener's laptop comes out in the months before the election. Not even months, just days. What was it? A couple weeks?
Yeah.
Now Wiener had been accused of this sort of thing before. It wasn't the first time. And curiously, Donald Trump has tweeted about how Wiener would be the downfall of everything years ago when he was like, Huma is with Wiener and Uma's with Clinton. He predicted this years ago. It's so telling.
Right.
So he basically called it. He said, this is what's going to happen. Now, there are some people that say, so, okay, how do I break this down? There's so much information. Wiener's laptop, they start investigating Wiener because he's having a sexting relationship with a 13-year-old. and he's sending pictures back and forth when his infant son is laying next to him on the bed.
Right.
So disturbing. So they start investigating for that. They come across his laptop, on which they find more emails in a folder called insurance or life insurance.
Yeah.
They are related to Hillary Clinton and or Uma Abedin. The NYPD gives this information to the FBI, but holds a copy of it for themselves.
Right.
Probably because they know what's going on.
Right.
So the FBI takes it. Comey announces that he's going to reopen, they are reopening the investigation because of these new revelations. The world is like, oh my God, this is crazy. The FBI director's doing this right before an election. And then he comes out.
Before we get all the liberals riled up, to clarify, I don't think he said that he was reopening the investigation. He was simply putting forth more information that he had come across, which he's required to do. So I know personally when I thought they said that they were reopening it, I was like, yes, lock her up, lock them all up. But in actuality, I don't think he actually said that they were reopening it. He was doing what he was required to do, which was notify Congress if anything new came up in the investigation. I believe that's what happened.
Okay, so that makes sense. So now, as all this is going on, we have Doug Hagman, who is a private investigator, connections to the NYPD, come out and say, this is a sample of something that they found on Weiner's laptop, and he has a photo that he was provided by the NYPD of a little girl at a piano, all blurred out, but that was basically to show us, like, this is the sort of thing that's on this laptop. Now, apparently, the NYPD is starting to get really antsy because nothing's been done with this information. The email thing blew away, and, Comey's still on board at the FBI.
Right.
And, that then fed back into this whole Pedogate scandal, of which I've done extensive research into.
Yeah, you're on top of it for that.
Yes, because it is so crucial to everything that's happening right now in the world. It ties into everything. So I needed to do this, and I needed to learn about what was going on and kind of tie some things together, because otherwise, there are kids out there that are being harmed daily. I can't not do something about that. So
hourly. It's not just, it's like hourly, daily. It's a horrifying situation. It's a horrifying situation. And people know about it. People know about it. People.
It's not like this just. Yeah, this is not something that just happened with Alex Jones will say that there's nothing going on at Comet Pizza. That's bull, okay? There were things going on at Comet Pizza. That's what started this whole thing. And I don't believe for 1 second that place, allegedly things going on at Comet Pizza, I'm sorry. But, that's not the story by any stretch of the imagination. It just started this whole thing. And even the investigative side of things have gotten really nasty, in, people fighting with one another and who's a shill and who's not and who's in it for this. And I want no part of all that nonsense. But it's harder and harder to find true stuff because there's, fewer and fewer places where you can document this without having to worry about anything. That being said, there was the Franklin cover-up. There's all sorts of things that have to do with this. Jeffrey Epstein, all kinds of things. Titus Frost, somebody's posting here. Titus Frost is a researcher of Pizzagate. He did have someone who hacked the back end of the Comet Ping Pong, Bucks Fishing and Camping conglomerate website, and they did find child porn there. But since it was obtained illegally, they did that illegally, they hacked in illegally, they weren't able to use that in a court of law. And
when did that happen? I'm not aware of that.
That was several weeks ago that actually was released, that they did that. And you know, basically they weren't able to use that evidence because of the way it was obtained. There's just so many different tangents you can go on with this story. Yes, Honeybee has done great work. I saw her, and believe it or not, I was like, oh goodness, she's frozen again. Believe it or not, oh, you're back. Yeah. Okay. Believe it or not, I found Honeybee, and I was like, wow, she reminds me of me. That's crazy. That's crazy. But you know, we've been doing a lot of work on this stuff.
We need people like you.
I mean,
really, I mean, this isn't something, you know, we've talked about this. This isn't something I can dive into. It's just too much for me. It's too much. I can't do it. And so we need people like you out there, getting this out there, digging into this. You know, I mean, even when this first came out, I cannot believe that people aren't outraged by the artists, the artwork that Podestas are interested. That alone to me was like, you have got to be.
I think she froze again. She did. Yeah, the artwork is horrible. On top of the artwork, you know, it's crazy to me. They made an attempt at normalizing this behavior. Salon and the New York Times coming out with articles about it, saying we're not monsters, and you know, the alternative ways to please these people. And then a victim of pedophilia himself, Milo Yiannopoulos, is tarred and feathered in sort of like a reverse attack. And they take down the articles normalizing it, and they use the one thing that they're guilty of against a victim. And that made me really, really sad. That made me take pause. It was really crazy. The artwork and his brother. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff there. I mean, there's so much to go over in terms of that topic. It would be hours and hours. And, you know, I have to, where credit's due, Titus Frost has some great documentaries. If anyone ever asks me, like, where do I send someone who's ready to learn about this, I send them there. But the hypocrisy of the media, the hypocrisy of, you know, the media for not reporting on all the arrests that have been going on, the horrible way that folks are being treated when they're trying to speak about this, it's just horrible. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is scary. Look, someone in the comments is saying some people have been trying to expose the Australian equivalent, have been thrown in jail without trial for it. Out now, but ruined and threatened. Look, you know, I barely had anything happen to me, knock on wood, and I was scared. You know, when you go down this whole, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yes. When you go down this road, you know, people have literally died for trying to expose this stuff. It's no joke. That's why it's so important that everybody speaks out together. Otherwise, you're like a lone person, you know, fingering the murderer, and the murderer just kills you, and then there's no one else to.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Right.
And it's crazy and it's scary. And I'm like, I only have 6,000 subs. I don't have enough people like to do this.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really scary when you put yourself out there. It's very scary.
Let's see, what else can we go into? You know what? Let's go into something that you know a lot about and see how many folks want to hear about this.
Nobody wants to hear about it. I'm joking. What?
You liar. You've done so much work into the Boston bombing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How long can you talk about the Boston bombing?
I don't know. As long as people are interested, I suppose. If anyone has any questions, that would be great. Post those.
I mean, this one here is like an efficient. I mean, I've never seen such a thorough investigation before of the Boston bombing. Everybody who wants to hear about the Boston bombing, type a Y and hit enter. You know, we got to do what the audience wants, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll just say that, I mean, this is just some very simple things about the case that I don't think a lot of people realize. I mean, obviously Tamerlan Tsarnaev died, and then you had Jahar, who was brought up on charges, and they went through a trial. And I don't think people realize that simple things such as the backpack, it doesn't make sense. In every court document, in every report that was done, the government says Jahar was carrying a black backpack. Well, we have the video. Jahar wasn't carrying a backpack. Even at trial, they get into this. And so it's, very simple things like that. How is someone being convicted of carrying a bag that isn't even the bag he was carrying? I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I don't know. He was obviously convicted and found guilty. So in the United States, he is considered guilty. But there's a lot of simple questions that haven't been answered. Where did they make the bombs? We don't know where they made the bombs. I mean, there was a little bit of black powder that was found in Tamerlan's SUV and a little bit of black powder found in their apartment. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure of the group. It's like the American Pyrotechnics Association. They came out with a press release and said, for what you have shown that these brothers bought in fireworks, there is no possible way they built these bombs. It's impossible. So you don't even have a trial where they prove how they built these bombs. And I don't know if people realize, it wasn't just the 2 bombs on Boylston Street during the marathon. They had another, it was called a Tupperware container bomb that was found that infamous Thursday night in Watertown. They had pipe bombs that they threw that night. Talking about a lot of fireworks here. It's impossible. So who made the bombs? Who helped them make the bombs? Where did they get the materials? These are really important questions that they've really never answered at all. So,
What grabbed me about that, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit because I followed this very closely, but not as closely as you. What grabbed me about it was the way they prepared the community for martial law, and the community just went along with it. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, these are like 2 teenage boys. Right. And meanwhile, you've got 20 armed heavily armed guards, like police officers.
Like tanks rolling down the street. Yeah.
Yeah. Running up to people's doors and like barging through their front doors. And these people are all like cheering when the cops are, look, I'm not an anti-cop by any stretch of imagination. All I'm saying is you're cheering when they caught these guys. You're cheering these people that have just completely destroyed your rights. Right. Trampled all over them. They're gone.
Well, and I don't think, and again, I don't know how many people know this, but when Jahar stopped and ran out of the, Mercedes SUV, there are documents out there that say that another police officer came head to head with him. As he's like head to head at that intersection, Jahar ran out and hid in a boat right down the street. You want to know where they stopped the perimeter to search? Right around there. So you have Jahar who's like, I don't know, 50 feet from the perimeter, from the search perimeter. It's insane. They allegedly brought dogs out. Well, there was a blood trail. I don't think, this came out only one day in trial. One of the neighbors, no, actually it might have been an article. A neighbor was interviewed. Someone had broken into his home. It was the house right next door where Jahar was found in the boat. His home had been broken into. There were bloody towels in his bathroom. You have a blood trail on cars in that neighborhood before Jahar got in that boat. And you're telling me a dog couldn't find him? Come on. That's insane. That's insane. And now with what's coming out in Vault 7, I find it hard to believe that the intelligence community couldn't track them down in 4 days.
Yeah. Oh. I know. With all the technology that they had, they couldn't find these 2 teenage kids.
One of which Russia had already warned the United States about.
Well, that's always the way it works. They're always warned beforehand. Every single guy has been questioned and let go. And then No, this was during the Pulse nightclub shooting where there was a gentleman who called the FBI and said he was being set up for to do a terrorist attack. And he saw what happened to the Pulse nightclub shooter, and he realized they were going to kill him too. So it's always something like that in every single one of these. Every one of them. It's always crazy. Like,
it's just bizarre. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. And you know, if there's nothing kind of sinister going on, then to me it just shows an incredible, you know, just a lot of incompetency.
So what was the reason for it? Like, what's your thoughts like about why this happened? What was their purpose?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. That's a great question. Everyone has that question, including myself. Certainly, I believe that at one point he was working for the CIA. I definitely think he was recruited. We have him going to Russia for 6 months. Tamerlan going to Russia.
Those damn Russians.
Those dirty, dirty Russians. And, you know, I know some theories out there that there were a lot of Chechen insurgents that were killed and ambushed, people that Tamerlan knew, people that Tamerlan had been talking over the internet with, and they were killed. They were all, you know, there was quite a few that were killed and while he was over there. And so the thought is the CIA sent him over there, you know, to maybe assassinate some people or to help Russia troops get the Chechens, which doesn't make any sense because we have helped the Chechens out secretly, you know, back in the day. We were helping them out against Russia. So I find it hard to believe that the CIA wants to take out Chechens, but, you know, who knows? Who knows?
Could you share a little bit, like now that I'm like kind of refreshing my memory on this, about the parents? Wasn't there something weird with the parents also? Like the mother was connected to a terrorist group or...
I'm trying to think. It wasn't, well, I mean, the landlord has come out and said that the FBI stopped by and the mother was more than willing to work with them. That's the story from the landlord. She seemed that, at least that's what I recall, is that the landlord came across as the mother being very, very helpful for the, you know, being more than willing to help the FBI out. Whatever that means, I don't know. Were they recruited? I don't know. So I know there were also, you know what, I don't want to say. I can't remember offhand. I know when Tamerlan Tsarnaev was overseas, he had hooked up with, I thought, a family member who was part of some sort of group, but they weren't radical Islamists from what I remember. But, you know, I don't know.
There was something...
Trying to think.
Yeah, I'm looking through right now. There was something about the mother. Well, we here it says on Heavy that she believed 9/11 was a conspiracy. That's interesting. But that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. There's more to, I mean, there's so much more we can talk about. But if you guys want to see, you should go to her blog and read about the Boston bombing. I mean, you've got some stories that you could share that were pretty interesting.
I think besides, you know, the mother, I think if you look at the uncle, Ruslan Sarny, and if you look at his background, which some of this ties into the uranium deal with Russia, you know, and so when you look at that stuff, I think that's really where it ties in with the FBI and maybe the CIA. I mean, I think so. I don't know if it's true. You know, I'm not looking to get sued anytime soon, but it is astounding the ties that this family has. Like if you go on my blog and you look up Silver Springs, or you look up Misha, or you look up Ruslan Sarny, it's astounding. You can't read all this stuff and walk away and think to yourself, it's a random act. Lone wolves.
Yeah, this was just two kids that just decided to blow up a marathon. No big deal.
Yeah.
Someone's asking you what you think about Sandy Hook.
Oh, you know what? It's tough. You know what? This is how I look at it. I don't want to be one of those people that said it didn't happen, because if that many children's lives were lost, I feel like that would be disrespectful, doesn't cover it. But there is definitely something very, it was very weird. It didn't go down in the news like you would expect. If that really happened, you know, we didn't see anything. Not that I want to see gore, but we didn't see anything. Literally, we didn't see anything. I saw one class running out of that school. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
One line of kids. That's it.
I think the bottom line is like this. It's almost like everything that we think is true, take the opposite, square it, and that's the truth.
Yeah. It's, you know,
at this point, honestly.
I'd like to be one of those people that you know, believe these things don't happen and everything's a false flag and there really are no victims. Trust me, I want to believe that an entire class of kids were not gunned down. I want to believe that. Absolutely. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only hope that it's that kind of false flag. But do I believe that? You know, I just don't know. I just don't know. You know?
I'm interested to see what comes out in the future releases of Vault 7. They've alluded to Kennedy. They've alluded to 9/11 in a roundabout way. They've alluded to the Pentagon. What else have they alluded to, Llama?
Well, I think we got something going on with the Panama Papers.
Yes.
So I don't know what that's about. I don't know what it ties into. My guess is maybe, you know, when you like to fund wars and such and arms trading, sometimes you like to go through Panama. I don't know, you know, use shell companies. So that's what I'm thinking, is that this is, hang on one. Yeah, that's okay. Sorry. I think that's what it's about. It might be about Syria and about these shell companies and who's involved with these shell companies and the money that's moving when it comes to arms trafficking and things like that. That's my guess, but it could be anything. I mean, there's so much data out there about the Panama Papers. It's crazy.
I agree with you. You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly. Panama is interesting, and I there's so much information out there. Like, I try to dive into all of this, but it's overwhelming. One thing that a lot of people have been tweeting at both of us, I think, is about the Awan brothers and their connection to the DNC. That ties back into Guccifer and the DNC hack, which was done by someone inside of the DNC. Did I lose you again? Bummer. So I've studied a lot about those brothers, the ones that have, basically they've been on the payroll. They met secretly with Pelosi. No one else was allowed around. There was that like almost live stream email thread going through in WikiLeaks about who was allowed to meet with Pelosi and who wasn't. They're paid exorbitant amount of money. They're all, the brothers, they're all getting 3 times as much money as their other counterparts. They've got unfettered access to things that they shouldn't have access to. How exactly they play in, I was reading the blog that I shared on my last video about Guccifer 2.0 and the one previously. And he doesn't seem to think that, oh, there you are.
Just so everyone knows, my computer's from like 1963. I actually use floppy disks, the nuclear codes. I can use it on my computer. Yeah.
No, she's got hamsters inside of a wheel running inside that thing. It's like chugga-wugga. Anyway, so those brothers are definitely something that we should keep our eye on. And the mainstream media is not going to report on any of this stuff, guys. And I will say this is something that's been coming out for me very often lately. Sean Hannity had William Binney on his show, and basically away by the fact that the NSA was doing all the things it was doing. I was amazed that he had him on the show. I was like, wow, we're really crossing a threshold now where William Binney's on this show. Hannity's been red-pilled. Hannity's being attacked right now, hardcore. They're trying to say he was trying to shoot Juan Williams. I mean, you're going to see the character attack go.
I saw that today. What's that about?
He was showing, Hannity's saying, I was showing Juan Williams my firearm.
Yeah.
And it was you know, I followed firearm safety that I've learned since I was 11. It was not something that was horrible, like you guys are making it out to be. Juan Williams says the same thing. But they're basically now trying to demonize Hannity. And you see a line on that story, you know? So it's like,
they're going to take them all down. They're going to try.
They're going to take them. Yeah. Any mainstream guy, even Limbaugh has been very forthcoming with stuff. I mean,
they're coming after you next. I'm kidding. I hope not. They're not.
That was scary.
I'm sorry. They're not. They're not.
Thanks a lot.
I said earlier before the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope you get, you know, famous, because you'll be one of the few news sources out there that we can trust.
I'm
right?
not famous. I'm not famous.
You're going to be a rock star.
I'm expendable.
No.
You know that emoji on the iPhone that's like, that's me right now. Hannity's part of big media. Okay, so let's try an experiment. Let's try an experiment, because I think we're going to wrap it in a minute. I'll dedicate 10 minutes to this. I don't have a phone number for you guys to call, but I'll do this again. Type a Y if you want me to open up this Google chat for you guys to hop in. This is very daring, but let's see who wants to do it. Type a Y if you want to hop into my Google chat with Llama.
I like it. That, or you need to get like a hotline that people can call in.
Yeah, I have to figure out how to do that. Oh, we got a Y, we got another Y, and another from the same person. I guess this person really wants in. We got a lot of people that want in. Oh, wow, look at this. Okay, so listen. We're going to take turns. I'll go. How much time do you have, Llama?
I got all the time in the world.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do. I don't know if this is wise, but let's do it anyway. Screw it. You only live once, right?
I can't even believe it's been an hour. I feel like we haven't even talked about half of, you know what I mean?
We've been jumping all over the place. We haven't talked about much of anything. This is what we're going to do. We're going to open this up to you, the viewer. God. Okay, here we go. Not all at once, guys. Not all at once. There it is in the chat. Jump on in. Not all at once, please. I know you guys are all going to come in at once, but here you go. Off you go.
What's happening?
What's happening? I put the link in so people could jump in and join us on screen.
You know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know what everyone thinks about what they think is going to be in the next Vault 7 leak. Is it going to be, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's in this last leak that, well, if you look at that, oh boy, we have people.
Mr. Pluto 202. Oh, he's gone.
I would be interested to see what people think about.
Oh yeah, we could talk about anything. I mean, I don't care. It's wide open, you people.
Why you people?
Use guys. Come on, everybody was all excited. Now I got nobody in here. What's going on here? Come on.
Coming on?
I don't know. I mean, I shared my link. This is like a bonding experience for us.
I'm afraid
you don't have to be on video. Let me just give a little tutorial. You can hide your camera and leave just your microphone. You don't have to be on video. You can do this on a cell phone. You can do this on a computer, but you do not have to show your face if you don't want to. Yeah, you definitely try and use Chrome because it plays okay with Firefox, but not really. I can't believe this.
I'm going to YouTube, but I'm so afraid this is going to freeze up my computer again. So let me see if because I can see the chat when I go to it. I'm afraid it's freezing stuff up.
You see, this is okay. So everybody's saying we're gonna have to do this another time. People aren't camera ready.
Look at that.
Be still my heart. I'm a little sad about this. I have to be honest, but
You don't need to be showered to talk about Vault 7. You don't.
no, it's dirty. Let's talk about, like, you guys are so smart. I mean, they're so smart. There's so many smart people out here.
Yes, there really is. There really is. I mean, there are people who know way more than what I know going on. I mean, it's
I posted the link one more time. We'll give them another 2 or 3 minutes. If nobody pops into the chat or into the hangout, we'll call it a night. And people are saying that they like this, so we'll do it again for sure. And you know, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about Llama in regards to Vault 7. I feel like we didn't even touch on, like.
I know. It's great. I mean, we should have like an outline before we start this. Okay, we're gonna stick to it.
Yeah, I've been doing shows for a really long time, and I've never had an outline for a show, even when I've done interviews with like big folks, like when I interviewed Ben Swan. Winged it. Wung it. Is that right?
I think it's winged it.
I just winged it. I winged it. I just winged it. Same thing with Doug Weed. I interviewed Doug Weed. That was a massive interview, and I just winged that one too. He stayed on for over an hour.
I think it's winged it. Oh,
I just winged it. I winged it. I just winged it. Same thing with Doug Weed. Bond, you have to stop your YouTube video, and I just winged it too. He's on for over an hour.
I think it's winged it. We have someone on.
Yeah, but I'm gonna mute him for a second. I muted him because he's got YouTube playing in the background, and it's
yeah.
So James Bond, unmute your YouTube. I mean, mute your YouTube, and then I'm gonna re-enable you now.
Hey, so you should put up a link to your interview of Ben Swan.
I did a video where I did that.
Is it on your YouTube?
Yes.
I'll have to look for it. I haven't watched it yet.
Now I can't unmute him. Hold on.
Hi.
Yay!
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's very bad.
Uh-oh. I live by Lake Erie in Cleveland, so cell reception is not the best. Is that better?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So my question is, Flight 3 in Shanksville, have any of you ever seen Flight 4?
Goodness. Kimberly, I'm sorry. There was way too much feedback. Shanksville, have any of us ever seen, what did she say?
I couldn't hear any of it, to be honest.
Can I unmute people once I mute them? I don't know if I can.
I don't know.
Shanksville, have any of us ever seen, what did she say? This is really crazy. I just kind of did this on a whim.
Well, now you know.
Now there's so many people coming in. Look, if you guys are going to come in, that's great. I'm going to, Kimberly, come back in a second. Try and use headphones. Try and use headphones if you're going to come in. And that's really the only rule I have. And be clothed.
Wow, what do we do before technology, huh?
There you go. Hey, IT guy, I know you.
Yeah, you know me. I know you.
Apparently. So how are you tonight?
Oh, not too bad.
So I figured I'd get daring and kind of share this room with everybody. And here we are. So what do you have to say?
Oh, I have a lot to say. All speculation.
How is everyone tonight?
Good. How are you?
All right.
You guys take over. Say what's on your mind.
Oh,
Oh goodness.
Team Light, your mic sounds like you're underwater.
I just have to mute if that happens. That's all. Until we can figure out why. This probably wasn't the smartest idea.
I'm wondering when the part 2 comes out for Vault 7.
I think that we've got a couple of like flags that it's very soon. Saying that it would be today.
Today.
Actually, this evening.
Well, one thing we have to know is that it's all speculation.
Yes, everything.
Because nobody knows except WikiLeaks.
I also heard, I guess, that FBI Anon was murdered last November, and supposedly he was replaced by a bad operative. Is this true?
I've never heard that. And the FBI Anon has made other appearances, supposedly, but again, speculation, so there's nothing you can prove. I try not to report on anonymous sources that say things like FBI Anon, CIA Anon, you know, whoever, because you can't prove it at all. So you keep that in your tool. You keep it in your toolkit, and then you use it. You know, should something, like, just keep it as base knowledge. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah. So as soon as they release something and it validates what they had leaked or what they had revealed ahead of time, then you can kind of trust their word. But until that happens, it could be Bob in his grandma's basement.
Now, I might want to add one thing in here. I'm going to have to kind of come out here and talk about Robert David Steele, because that guy is bad news.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh goodness. I'm not going to add anything to this, but I'm going to listen to everything you have to say. Thank you for saying that. I will not add anything to that, but listen to you. Go ahead.
Well, it just seems to me like he's trying to, I don't know how to say this, push the narrative in a certain way. He's trying to make Trump listen to him. And
okay, so I guess since the topic's been raised, I'll say a few of the things that kind of flagged me about Robert David Steele, who has a very impressive history and resume. He doesn't know how to pronounce George Soros's name. He basically insinuated that Bannon is an anti-Semite. He threatened his life on an interview. Just several things that he's done that have just been like, that's just not right. Like, that's very strange. That's really weird.
Right, exactly.
That's just my thoughts. I don't know for sure about any of this, but I would think that someone of his caliber would be able to pronounce George Soros's name Soros, not Sotos.
Exactly, and actually he's got a nickname. His name's George Soros.
We're a PG show.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
We've covered Pizzagate, so I'm not sure how PG that is. So
we didn't say anything about Pizzagate.
PG? Pizzagate?
That was Pizzagate, PG.
Actually, they're trying to push the narrative to make it pedogate now instead, because that's what it really is.
Yeah, I've been using that hashtag for a long time, several months.
Since when did everything have to have this gate after it? I mean, from Watergate, obviously, but now everything's a gate. Is it a gateway to something else?
It's a gateway lower. It's like a gateway down the rabbit hole even farther, as far as I know.
It's funny. It's like they just like they combine, you know, couples' names now. It's the same thing. Everything's a gate. Brangelina. Just saying.
So you
All
know,
right.
I want to throw something out there. I'm going to throw out Putin. And Tracy, I brought this up to you that I find it very interesting how calm Putin has been through all this. You know, how many people have died or been assassinated? The allegations that he's hacked the elections and you know, hacked the DNC and sent all this, you know, gave all this stuff to WikiLeaks. Probably hacked the CIA, the NSA, whatever. Not that I believe any of that, but I find it very interesting.
I take great umbrage at that.
Putin has been. Interesting. You got great umbrage, is that what you said?
Oh my God, that's funny.
I said I was gonna. I think that there's a reason for his cool.
Yeah.
If you look at Russia, they're like one of the last countries that's we align with the new America, aligns with their values closely in many ways. I'm sure, you know, we have a common goal right now. We have a common denominator. So I think that he understands that nationalism is going to help to advance his policy goals in the long run. But at the same time, he's still in bed with the Clinton / Democrat machine. He's just, you know, for someone who supposedly got such a temper, you know, 13 of his diplomats have been killed, I believe.
Right. Right.
So take from that what you'd like.
Very calm. Very calm. Yeah.
So did anyone see the Angela Merkel interview today?
I saw the press conference. I didn't see who interviewed her.
It was the press conference.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Reason being is because I had noticed Trump was upset about something, and it wasn't just Merkel.
What do you mean?
You mean when they were sitting down, like before?
Yeah.
Yeah, before the press conference.
Yeah.
And they were saying he wouldn't shake her hand.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. He definitely was not happy about something. And she played a role, it appeared, in his unhappiness. So I'm not sure what it's about. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I've been
I
trying to
didn't
figure
see
this
it
one
yet,
out.
so
I've been trying to figure this one out all day. It was okay, I guess. But I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's really going on.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Didn't Merkel?
Did we lose her again?
It appears so.
Oh, goodness.
I just found it interesting. Oh, can you hear me?
You're back. Okay.
Yay. Sorry. I was just saying I thought it was interesting that Merkel was talking about how radical Islam, and thinking to myself, well, you have an interesting way of going about it.
Because she's trying to make Trump believe in NATO and the EU, that we need them when we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that some of these world leaders know going into this that there's no way they're going to convince Trump of any of that nonsense. That's my thought anyway. I mean, it's just useless.
It is useless.
All right. I don't know about you guys. I need to at least step away for a few minutes. If you guys want to keep going, that's fine with me. We can go to 9:30, or if you guys are that interested, we can go longer. Up to the people in the chat too. What you guys want to do. I'm happy to continue for a few more minutes. But yeah, someone send Llama a new computer. I agree.
I mean, seriously, It's ridiculous.
I'll be back. You run the show for a few. I'll be right back.
All right. So how many people do we have still on here? 2, 3, 2?
Present.
Just 2?
Yeah. Looks like
Yeah. Someone muted, but I'm not sure who that is.
Not me.
Jackie.
So what do you guys think what do you think is going to be in the next drop?
I think it's gonna probably be something to do with more CIA stuff, as far as I know.
Well, they said that Vault 7 is pretty much mainly CIA. It's probably the whole bulk of their CIA leak that they got that they're dividing up. But
Yeah, exactly.
For part
Right.
1 to be less than 1% is mind-boggling with how much has already been released.
It
And
really is. And
I think that the end game.
Go
I
ahead.
think that the end game will be too much for a lot of people to handle. You know, it's that cognitive dissonance thing where, you know, their core belief is so strong in something that even given evidence to prove the opposite, that they won't be able to accept it. And I think that's what it's going to come to towards the end of the release.
Well, basically what I see this amounting to is the separation of wheat from chaff, if you know what I mean. An old saying. It's like separation of the people that will never wake up versus the people who are waking up.
I miss that first part of what you said.
I just said it's basically what I think that it amounts to is the separation of wheat from chaff, if you know what I mean. It's like an old saying.
Yeah, that Vault 7 is, or what's coming out in it?
The people, it's basically the people are being separated now. They're being separated out from one another. The sleepers versus the non-sleepers.
I feel like the election alone did that, you know, and maybe Vault 7 will take it to a whole new level.
Yes.
But I feel like this presidential election has divided this country like no other election I've seen, and it's not just. I mean, it's so overt. It's just
because this election wasn't just an election of the 2 lesser evils,
right.
or the 3 lesser evils, or however many it is. It was
Right.
the separation of good versus evil.
Yeah, I mean, you have the whole deep state playing into this, and I think once Trump was elected, you know, we've had a war going on inside of our government ever since.
That's right. What's going on here is they're trying to get rid of all the bad rats in the intelligence communities.
Right.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the idea of a group? I guess they go kind of by the watchers, that they sit in the back just to make sure nothing bad happens. And when they anticipate something devastating that's about to happen, they intervene, still in the shadows. It's not so much like a shadow government, but a group of American loyalists that hold positions of power that don't make their power known.
The men in black, so to speak.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, except it would probably be more like the men in white, basically, or like the White Dragon Society.
Yeah.
I think that's happening right now.
I think that could be partly why Trump won the election.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's no way he could have beat Clinton without some kind of White Dragon intervention or something to that effect.
No, well, I think there was this is my thing. I think there was a deal. There was a hold on one second. Sorry. Sorry, I had a technical thing. I think there was a deal cut where like play nice, like let me win. Well, we won't pursue X, Y, and Z. We'll make sure that you guys go quietly into the night, and then that's what was going on behind the scenes the night election night. And
Absolutely.
then Trump came out and he said, sorry, guys, complicated business. Remember, that was what he said when he first came out to make his acceptance speech. And then after that, they didn't play nice. And so now we have all this craziness going on. That's my thought.
I'll tell you something, though. Trump is playing it 40 steps ahead right now, literally.
5D
He's got to know. He's the president of the United States. He knows things that only the upper echelon of the government knows.
He knows things that we could only dream of.
I have some crazy dreams.
Let's just say I know a lot about Trump.
Oh,
Not
we'll
an
share
insider.
More.
Are you his brother from another mother?
Man, I wish. Nah, basically what I heard was sifting through the data and found was he supposedly is above top secret.
There's a lot about Trump that hasn't come out yet that will be coming out, I'm sure. He's, the man is not just a billionaire.
No, he's not. He's far from it.
Guys, it's 9:29. I'm gonna cut this now, but I appreciate you guys so much. And Llama, thank you. And I'm sure we'll do this again. I think everybody, enjoyed it. To all of the subscribers who stuck around for the full hour and a half, God bless. To all of you guys who are watching this now after the fact, God bless to you too. Thanks for coming in here, guys, and having the courage to join our little live stream. Thank you to the people that joined that their audio just wasn't working tonight. Hopefully you guys can fix that for next time. I think this is something that we should do as a community. We should all just, yeah, we should just get together a little bit more. But
it's a nice little round table.
Yeah, it's good. And, we had some shenanigans on St. Patty's Day. So until next time, we will talk to you.
The next leak.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Tuesday.
Bye, guys. Bye.